All right. Assalamu alaikum. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Welcome everyone to the Career Development webinar on Islamic banking and finance. It's a very interesting topic. It's a very interesting industry, and many people are interested to know about what is Islamic banking, how it is different from conventional banking, what are the career opportunities in this industry, what is happening in this industry, what has been the progress over the years in this industry. And today we are going to talk about all these issues with our two experts from the industry. They are also part of SZABIST alumni. We have Mr. Raheel Bhagar with us, who is also SZABIST alumni. He has done bachelor's as well as master's from SZABIST. I will give an introduction of him very shortly. We also have with us Shahid Sumar, who is joining with us to discuss Islamic banking. First of all, I am going to give introduction of our two experts, and then we are going to move towards lots of interesting questions. The viewers, can also ask questions on our Facebook page, on our YouTube page, and we will also take questions from the questions that you will post in the comments. So, Mr. Raheel Bhagar, who is joining with us, he is an expert in uh, Islamic banking and finance. Uh, Mr. Raheel Bhagar is head of Sharia compliance at Soneri Bank at the moment. He has done MBA from SZABIST and also bachelor's from SZABIST, and then he also did MSc from University of Durham, UK. He is also a certified Sharia advisor and auditor from the AOFI institution, which is the regulatory body in the Islamic finance industry. He has a vast experience in Islamic banking in the area of product development, Sharia compliance, and Sharia audit. He has provided training and consultancy in the Islamic banking industry for both corporations as well as to academic institutions, both in Pakistan as well as internationally. He is arguably one of the key leading practitioners in the field of Islamic banking industry in Pakistan, and we are very glad that as alumni of SZABIST and as a very key leading practitioner in this industry, he is joining with us to talk about Islamic banking and finance. Thank you, sir,
Thank you.
for joining.
Thank you. Thank you for such a
Mr.
humble introduction. I'm very grateful to you guys. And everyone, Assalamu alaikum.
Then we also have Shahid Sumar Sahab, who is Chief Information Officer at Bank Albaraka, which is the full-fledged Islamic bank in Pakistan, and it has a very rich history of Islamic banking in Pakistan. He has held the same position previously in Summit Bank. He has been acting head of IT in other banking institutions. He holds more than 22 years of diversified experience in the field of information technology within the banking sector. He is specializing in the IT governance, IT strategic management, IT infrastructure and operations, core banking implementations, business intelligence, electronic channels, including cards and payment system and digital banking initiatives. So we are going to hear from him about what is fintech, how Islamic banks can benefit from it, what is digital banking, are we having a full-fledged digital Islamic bank in Pakistan anytime soon. So we are going to talk about all these issues of blockchain, cybersecurity, and fintech, and how technology can positively influence financial inclusion as well as the promotion of Islamic banking industry. He has done his MBA. He has done masters in computer science from SZABIST University, and he's an expert in IT and software engineering. So we are very glad that we have these two SZABIST alumni with us, leading practitioners in their field in Islamic banking industry. So without further ado, I would now start with questions. Is that, and it's the question that comes in every discussion on Islamic banking and finance. People want to know, we want to know, I want to know how Islamic banking is different from conventional banking. Give us your thoughts, give us the key differentiating points which can help us understand that Islamic banking is distinct from conventional banking. Raheel Saab.
Thank you so much once again. everybody has in their minds, so people who have not had any exposure to the Islamic banking. So instead of giving you all the religious verses, I would simply go on a example which can easily be able to understand by the viewers. You see, the difference between the conventional banking and Islamic banking is just a matter of a process. The process, if you follow the process which is required by the Sharia, then you will be proceeding towards Islamic banking. If the same process is not being followed, then it's conventional banking. I'll give you a very basic example. You can look at, uh, uh, you can go to a McDonald's in UK, and you might not eat a beef burger or a chicken burger. The only reason is that it's not halal. Now, what is halal? Halal is a process of zibah of an animal, which is prescribed by Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. And what you do simple zibah and you pray Bismillah Rahman Rahim Allahu Akbar, and that's the only process which you follow in halal, and that makes a difference between halal and haram meat. So if you look at the end product of that meat, it's the same burger. But one is halal and one is haram. You won't eat haram. What you eat is halal. So that is one basic difference. You need to follow the process. If you understand the process of the transaction, then it is halal and it is Islamic. It is included in Islamic banking. Otherwise, it is not. Second example, probably viewers will be able to more connect to is it's a burning topic as well, but I'll explain it to you. Look at nikah of our, in Islam. Nikah is what? Two people agreeing to be in marriage in front of two witnesses. That's it. That's the process of nikah. If you are not agreeing in front of two witnesses that they wanted to be in wedlock, then it's probably adultery. So adultery is haram and nikah is halal. And the only difference is the process. You go to a mosque or you sit in front of a religious guy and with two witnesses and confirming that you are marrying. So Islamic banking, conventional banking is as different as the question which you have asked is because people would look at the end results and they decide that it is same. But end result is not the uh, important factor here. It's a process through which you come to the end result. So my explanation to the people who are listening to this conversation is you need to understand the process of the Islamic banking. You understand the process, you will understand what is the basic difference between conventional and Islamic. If you have any further question, please.
All right. Before I ask more questions to you, let me go to Shahid Sumar Sahab. We heard from Mr. Raheel Sahab that the process is different in Islamic banking. So you have had experience of doing the mainstream banking before joining Bank Albaraka. So after you have joined Bank Albaraka and having a very vast experience of both types of banking institutions, from the IT perspective, from the accounting perspective, from how the transactions are managed electronically, do you find any additional challenges in doing Islamic banking?
Thank you, Salman, for a good introduction and an interesting question. As far as the technology side is concerned for the Islamic or the conventional, the major part is actually the core banking system, which is entirely different for Islamic banking as compared to conventional. And the market is different for conventional and different for the Islamic. Probably 5 to 10 years back, there were no very stringent rules from State Bank of Pakistan, and the banks were even using the conventional banking system just to cater the basic need of Islamic in terms of account maintenance and the various transaction habits. But when we talk about the true Islamic bank, which is actually the case these days because the regulation has strengthened a lot and the maturity of Islamic banking industry itself, fortunately has taken its momentum in the last 5 to 10 years. globe, especially after the subprime mortgage issue, which happened in 2008. Right? After that, the concept of Islamic banking, apart from the religious factor, the overall world has just recognized this thing that the derivatives and those financial instruments only on the basis of the paper is not going to sustain globally. So the asset-backed financing, which is the core part of the Islamic, actually just strengthened a lot, not only in Muslim countries, but even those not following the religion, but still think that this Islamic banking mode is fundamentally more sound. So as far as the technology side is concerned, the core banking system functionality for the Islamic banking is entirely different. As far as the customer experience and the hardcore technology is concerned, like the hardware or the software or even the mobile app, those experiences or the digital technologies like RPA or artificial intelligence or blockchain, whatever you call it, these fundamental technologies are not different for definitely for the Islamic or conventional, but the business application, especially the core banking system and its related transactions are entirely different for Islamic bank. So this is actually where the differences we can witness. And for me as a CIO, the data center technologies and the underlying technologies are same, but the core banking itself is actually is a very major application which is being run in almost all the departments of the bank. And as a CIO, you must understand the fundamentals of Islamic banking so that we can actually address our bank's operational requirements through the use of the technology in much better fashion. So the asset side, the pool management, the profit distribution, all these fundamental functionality of the Islamic bank is entirely different. So that's all from my side.
All right. Very heartening to see and
Yes,
hear
go
that
ahead.
we have the technological infrastructure to offer Islamic banking. And as Mr. Shahid Sahab has said, that there is no problem in offering Islamic banking using the mainstream technologies. We only need to have understanding of Islamic banking, and then the technology can be the facilitator. Now, coming back to Raheel Saab again, now I come to the current times. Now I come to what is happening today. What challenges have been faced by Islamic banks after the outbreak of this COVID-19? We know that Islamic banking is asset-backed financing, like you have also mentioned, that the process of financing involves certain differences, and one of the key differences is the involvement of assets when it comes to Islamic banking. So, if we look at businesses right now, they are looking for distress financing, they are looking for working capital financing, they are looking to have funds to repay their previous loans. So when businesses are not looking for buying new assets, then what Islamic banking can still offer are their products, like I have heard there is a product of Salam, there are other products where there can be provision of working capital financing as well. So how Islamic banks are coping up with the challenges of COVID-19 in surviving themselves, in providing financing to businesses and earning profits for their shareholders and depositors, and how they are able to facilitate the businesses who are looking for distress financing and working capital financing in this troubling time.
Right. The questions you have asked me is related to a couple of things which has happened in the COVID period time. Uh, I would come to a couple of points which I need to mention here is that during the period of COVID, there were a lot of businesses who were facing drastic working capital issues. Uh, we at Islamic banks, we do asset-backed financing, and also the products are aligned uh, with the different various Islamic types of modes of financing. One of those modes is Muraba, where we sell at a fixed rate. Now, when the COVID came in, the challenge was to restructure this whole product, and There were various challenges for the organizations, especially for the institutions who are already dealing with Islamic financing and have already made certain commitments. If they won't commit, if they have made the commitment and if they're not fulfilling it, they might end up having a liquidity issue, which could result in a default situation. Now, COVID 19 was something which was an externality and had these companies did not had any control over it because the country went into the lockdown, the situation of the employees and stuff, the paying the salaries as well. So Islamic Bank had went through a phase where the whole industry was looking for the various products, and we have come up with some innovative products as well to deal, especially during this pandemic period. We made most of the restructuring done. It couldn't have been done without the central bank support, obviously. State Bank had made a major step towards helping the Islamic banks to restructure those products. And one of the product which you would be surprised to know that one of the product which became a very important or buzzword was the running Mashaka, where we were able to finance their working capital, especially when participating in their cost of the goods sold. It is necessary to understand that working capital financing was the major need of the organizations, right? So, using that product, we were able to finance the salaries of the staff, uh, where the organization is looking for that kind of support. Also, all of the manufacturing concerns were able to, who are already in salam transaction, as you mentioned earlier, we were able to defer the delivery of the product. So it was a mix of various products. We had to look into it again with both Sharia aspect as well as the workability. And at the same time, running Mushaka became one of the go product, and most of the organization preferred to take that product so that they could finance their short-term working capital, because there were times the company had to shut down its operation, and banks, especially banks, had to face the losses as well. But yet, I'm glad to say that none of the banks were backed out by using that product. Everybody was encouraged, and they were happy to support the industry. So that this was a time where banks had to support the business houses, especially the state bank, which in reality became a marketing tool for Islamic banks as well, because they were willing to come for the help of the business community by bringing the new products into it. So it was overall a very difficult year, especially for the businesses and for people like us, like who have been associated with Islamic banking. This was something brand new we did not see before. The challenge was to ensure that these houses get the support, and the products we had the limitation to have new products, but finally we were able to learn from those areas, and we've been able to bring into new products for Islamic banking consumers. Alhamdulillah, so far we have been able to went through with the biggest issues. Now the organizations are back on the track, and Alhamdulillah, we are surviving.
Thanks a lot for these insights. It's very interesting to see that Islamic banks have come up with new products for working capital financing, and these products have proved to be very useful for both Islamic banking industry and also for their clients. And it's very heartening to see that none of the Islamic bank is still backing out from it or having any issues. They are solvent. They have their infection ratios in control. So it's very interesting and very heartening to note these insights. Now coming back to Shahid Sahab again, we are seeing a lot of disruptive technologies are coming up, and we see that at least in the payments business, on the retail side, we see that some of the things which banks used to do are now being done by other alternate channels. So these disruptive technologies are really making it tough for banks to have their survival, as well as retain their businesses, as well as customers who are just using banking channel for online payment transactions. So how Islamic banks are coping up with these disruptive technologies? Are they embracing digitization? We see that a lot of Islamic banks have come up with their own apps, but still there are some issues like the language is still in English, and a lot of people do not understand English, as well as they are not quite financially literate, so they might not understand all the terms in those apps. And without the help of human factor, uh, would we be able to cater to a commoner who is not very technology savvy, might be having technophobia? So how banks are basically embracing technology and bringing in digitization so that they are able to cater to the challenges which are posed by disruptive technologies.
Let me answer this question. You see, till Shahid Saab is back online, let me answer it. You see, the most important factor to answer this question is capacity building. Uh, you see, let the Islamic banking for a second stop here. You have to overall see that the education sector in Pakistan requires a lot of efforts to be made, because you see, the fact है that we have not been able to communicate to the bigger part of the society because of the lack of training and the knowledge base available to them. And we are trying, though, that our reach goes farther. But however, it's still quite a challenge. And most of us are working hard. Most of the Islamic banks are putting a lot of efforts to build capacity building as well, and various trainings and the concept of awareness programs are being there. State Bank is continuously pushing into this. Uh, with reference to technology, Shahid Saab will be able to shed more knowledge into it, that how a technology can help us, because now that with COVID, online education has become the buzzword. Everybody is working from home, especially the students. So this is a time when we can use the technology and spread the awareness to the maximum level. Coming back to Islamic banking, it's obviously when this is the issue of the society, with reference to the awareness programs, we have not been able to communicate with them. Especially, you see, interior Sindh, people doesn't even know how to use the ATMs. Same goes for Balochistan and Peshawar and Punjab. So Islamic banking is still far behind, but uh, our last 2 years we have been able to understand that the technology is the way ahead, and we need to move at a very fast pace, at a very rapid pace. Yet uh, this is going to remain a big challenge. Shahid Saab, you can take over from air technology. How can we improve capacity building using the technology overall and with Islamic banking?
Thank you, Raheel. I'm sure you both can hear me because I just switched to the laptop now.
Yes, we
Uh,
can perfectly
we
hear
can
you.
hear you properly here.
As far as this your question, Salman, my take on is that the as just I just told you earlier that the tool are same whether it's conventional or Islamic. I mean, the latest digital technologies the banks are exploring these days is the robotics process automation, the RPA, the digital wallet side, and the banks are these days working on the payment side because the payment platform itself is something that is evolving. Raheel rightly said that unfortunately in Pakistan, we are actually missing some fundamental KPIs. Like if I can just give you the example that we have the post terminal, point of sale terminal where we swipe our debit and credit card. I think not more than 54,000 all over Pakistan. Whereas if we just take the example of the neighboring country like Iran, with less population, with so many restrictions, but they are like having 2 million plus POS machine all over. So from digital and from the use of the technology, there is a lot of potential, no matter whether it's conventional or digital or Islamic banking. But if we just focus on the application of technology and digital technologies in Islamic bank, my point of view is that there is still a lot of potential where we can take the leverage of Islamic banking in Pakistan, especially with the fact that in Pakistan we have a religious perspective and its true spirit. And if we talk about the digital lending, because unfortunately, if we just look at the micro financing side in far-flung areas, the Islamic micro, there is very limited Islamic financing available for microfinance. And this is where the conventional financing facility is being charged with very high markup. And what I personally feel that the banks can, especially the Islamic banks, can actually invest more in microfinance bank and can use the digital technology for remote areas through the digital wallets and through the this uh, they can use the artificial intelligence to actually assess the credit quality and can disperse the nano loans in a very quick time frame. Because right now the financing in the remote areas, the Islamic financing, there is actually a lot of gap, and this needs to be filled, and this can be filled through the digital technologies. This is the number one, my suggestion. And number two is that if we just look at the mobile-based banking, I'm not talking about the application-based, the mobile-based bank. If we just take the example of Easy Pesa itself, they actually did not introduce the fancy application, but they actually just understood the core requirement of the person, those person who were very shy in coming to the branches, because the banks generally build the branches with so many expenses that generally the common man is very just I would say very fearful in entering even into the branch, because the guard himself would first stop him and would ask him, where are you going? So this branchless banking concept, where the agent is actually the Kriana store, the general store, the person can understand the lingo of the person, working on ground. So this branchless banking perspective and the digital lending perspective and the microfinancing lending, which is actually a very big, it's massive in terms of volume. This is where the Islamic bank can really take the leverage of the digital technologies and can create the alliances with the telecom and can actually aggressively work for as a microfinance.
Yes, excellent insights, excellent suggestions. Yes, if we talk about brick and mortar model, it's very expensive, and you very rightly said that we are not able to reach the masses through it, especially in the rural areas, and that is where technology, the branchless banking concept, and the digital banking, and the customized way of communication and interaction is going to be a very key enabler of increasing financial inclusion. Very interesting points. Coming back to Raheel Saab again, we heard from the central bank very recently that they are planning to have a new um, product for SMEs, whereby they would not be required to have collateral, and the financing would be provided to them based on cash flows. So, looking at this concept and looking at our product basket in Islamic banking, we have equity financing products like Musharaka, Mudaraba, we have running Musharaka. But as you have said, that running Musharaka has been very successful, but at the corporate level. Do you see that with this change in policy, with this new product, there is a chance for introducing running musharaka at the SME level too as well?
Thank you, Salman. I would say banks are working hard, Islamic banks especially, but we haven't explored SME the way uh, we could have done before. The only reason are the two factors. One is risk, and other one is the documentation. You see, lending to SME would be a core part of all the banking sectors in Pakistan, all the banks in Pakistan, and the banking sector, especially the central bank, has been very focused. Yet, uh, the factor which is a big hindrance is risk, because SMEs, the biggest problem with the SMEs is their cash flows, and that's what State Bank and the uh, regulator and the government of Pakistan expect us to participate in the cash flow system. Yet the problem with us is that we were not able to verify the true cash flows of these SMEs. You see, we do not have the documentation where we know that the numbers putting in to the bank account and the numbers which is being sent to us in terms of sales are true to their to the point that we can verify them. So this is the biggest factor, documentation. Most of the SMEs doesn't even have proper legal entities like a state bank along with the SECP, have come up with a solution that even a proprietor can register themselves to SECP. But how many organizations have done? How many small shops have been able to achieve that? Second, the second method we can use to verify those cash flows is through income tax returns. However, this income tax returns is still a big challenge. So if we'll be able to have a proper financial inclusion of all those small shops like grocery shops or even the milk shops at the right at the corner of their houses or our houses and very small businesses. There are a lot of shops in Pakistan who require financing and can perform far better than what they are doing right now. Yet we have not been able to assess their true income, as well as we have not been able to assess their projected businesses. So if we be able to achieve those both things, banks have no problem because they are more profitable to go into the SME business. It is also necessary to understand that the SMEs around the world has a default rate of about 25%. Islamic banks only have about 20% of ratio share in the market, even less in terms of assets. So the conventional banks have yet been able to prove that the SME, what documentation would they require to go into SME the way State Bank expect us to do. So there are the challenges there, and it is high time that we manage those challenges through financial inclusion. However, there is one more thing we need to do here is capacity building of the SMEs, make them understand that coming into the financial inclusion, financial disclosure, and they do according to the requirements of the businesses, they have a lot of opportunity because banks can open up to them, and a lot of small organizations are willing to go into those sectors. Leasing sector tried this, however, they were not able to perform the way they were expected to, and the leasing sector is almost wiped out. So these are the few factors which require us to still concentrate on it. And if central bank come up with the regulations where SMEs can prove their financial complete financials and they could be verified, then banks would have no problem. Islamic banks, on the other hand, are more willing to go into the SME, but because of the risk factors, we are still seeking for the opportunities where we can go into the corporate and make sure that the investments have been done.
Very important insight shared. I completely agree. Yes, you're right that there are a lot of startups who are able to generate financing. So if SMEs are well trained to document their work in a proper way, in an acceptable way, in a professional way, then access to finance is not much of a problem because banks, especially Islamic banks, have the liquidity. But there are some other impediments as well which have to be looked at as well. Coming back to Shahid Saab, you talked about introduction of lots of technologies in banking services, RBA, artificial intelligence, and there are other technologies as well. So all of these are positive points. But one important concern that common people have is the issue of cyber security. It's a challenge in digital space, especially when money is involved, and people sometimes have this concern that they are not quite tech savvy, and if let's say they click on a wrong button, something might happen. They might lose their money, they might lose their information, and some scams have also happened in near past, which you might be aware of as well. So, what steps are being taken by banks? Especially at Bank Albaraka, to strengthen cyber security to build confidence of people in digital banking.
Yes, you are right, Salman. In last 3 years, I would say, in last 3 years, the banks have uh, not only Albaraka but all the banks in Pakistan, they have now uh, taking these cyber security related matters and IT security related matters very seriously. And frankly speaking, before that, because there were actually the number of incidents and the news, I'm sure that you must have heard about these the attacks even in Pakistan banking industry and even in the West. As of today, these incidents you still hear many times taking place all over the globe. So this is actually a general phenomena that with the passage of time, when the things are going to be dependent more and more digitally, the the potential threat of cybersecurity it also arises with the same passage, or I would say in much bigger pace. The reason behind, interestingly, that the cyber attacker, these that well before time there were the antiviruses, sorry, the viruses which were being developed. What was actually the objective behind developing the virus at that time? It was just to actually, create a disturbance. I mean, I am a good developer. I did not find the suitable job, and I just want to take the revenge from the world, and I just want to create a virus to, These were actually the petty objectives at that time. But now, this cyber security and its attack has become a very lucrative business. I mean, I'm sure that you can see the underworld group and they are actually very much focused on having a very sophisticated attack on the industry, especially the banking industry or any financial industry, because they actually earn money out of it. So once you have a good money objective, then you know that, and it's a dirty work. So the person actually feels more enjoyable when they actually just target something. As a CIO, you are or as a CISO, even you are preoccupied in so many activities, but a person with the single objective, there here actually the power of mind plays a very important role. When you have only one single objective to hit the core of any company, so you have a single agenda, whereas the company itself has so many agendas. So yes, you are right that the importance of cybersecurity cannot be ruled out, and the number of steps the Albarka and even the banking industry, as far as I know, there are certain fundamental steps taken by the banking industry and the State Bank of Pakistan as well, including now all the banks have dedicated IS information security team, and they have the senior resource in the form of CISO, Chief Information Security Officer. This is now the mandatory position all over the banks, whether it's commercial bank, Islamic, or conventional, or microfinance bank, uh, any financial institution, it needs to hire the senior level security officer, and uh, this position should be accompanied with the number of position under this position to actually create a dedicated. So this is in place in Albaraka, and I am sure in most of the banks, all of the banks, I would say. Second thing is actually the 24 by 7 security operation control, which is established by Albaraka and again by, I would say, all of the banks now, as of now. Then there is a knock operation 24 by 7. The State Bank had issued in mid of 2017 the Enterprise Technology Governance Risk Framework. It is actually a comprehensive technology risk governance framework which covers so many, IT governance related, IT security related matters at the international level. And they also, through this framework enforce the bank to engage the board level resources for IT security and the cyber security related matters. So these are the fundamental, the changes which took place, especially in last 3 years, after the state bank and all the banks realized that this security related matter cannot be rolled out while moving fast on the digital. And I am sure that this does not just pertain to the banking industry, but the sensitive department, the sensitive government department, the military establishments. I mean, they have got the bigger concern because that in the bank you are talking about the monetary aspect. But I know that I just attended some of the seminars internationally, and if we just look at the national level posts of this cybersecurity related aspect, it actually has much more importance and big. So what I would say that the banks in last 3 years, as compared to the banks operating in Pakistan for last 60 years, I mean, in last 3 years, we are actually witnessing major improvement in terms of security. But the security, the probability of the attack cannot be ruled out 100%. We can just mitigate the risk, but we can't say that any bank all over the globe is 100% secure. There is no any 100% in as far as the security is concerned.
Very interesting insights, Shahid Saab, and very heartening to note that we have the regulations in place and banks are ready to the task. And it's very important that we remain vigilant, as you have said, that it's not just a one-off task that we build a system, cybersecurity system, and then we feel content. We have to be vigilant about all these different ways through which security can be breached. Coming back to Raheel Saab again, we hear from the Islamic banking industry that there has to be a level playing field, and they talk about they have liquidity management issues. They are not having enough avenues for investment. We know that conventional banks earn major business from investing in treasury bills, and these are not allowed for Islamic banks, and yet people do not really know that Islamic banks do not or cannot invest in treasury bills. So, what are the different challenges that Islamic banking industry faces, and due to which they feel that they are not having a level playing field? And what are the different suggestions or policy options that they would like to share to have a level playing field in the banking industry so that we can achieve the strategic vision of promoting Islamic banking in Pakistan?
Thank you, Salman. Uh, my view over here on this is that conventional banks and compared to Islamic banks had more opportunity with reference to money market and the capital market, which has already been developed in Pakistan for a very long period of time. Islamic banking is fairly new. It is only 20 years old. The products the central bank is trying to offer obviously takes time because Islamic banking products are not simple loans; they are asset-backed products. So, money market developing a money market had been a challenge in the past with the central bank as well, but uh, if I tell you the current situation that the most of the windows who are working under the conventional bank windows, they have been able to cope up with this issue quite easily now. We have enough sukuk available that the windows can, invest into those sukuk uh, and use their excess liquidity which they have already acquired through deposits. However, the full-fledged banks is definitely still facing such issues because you see the more awareness programs we are having in Pakistan, especially in the rural areas, the people we what we know so far is that the people wanted to go for Islamic way of doing business. So the people are more enthusiastic towards Islamic banking, and we have seen an amazing growth in last 20 years from a single institution to every organization in Pakistan now offering Islamic banking, especially with reference to banks. Even microfinance banks are also coming up with Islamic products. We also have specialized agriculture Islamic product these days. So what I'm trying to make a point here is that excess liquidity issue was there, but it is state banks. We should appreciate the state bank that they have been working hard to ensure that appropriate sukuks are in the market. Pakistan, if you look at into euro bonds as well, eurobond market, Pakistan has recently offered sukuk again for the international buyers as well. So on both fronts, government of Pakistan as well as the central bank is working on it. However, since people are more enthusiastic towards Islamic banking, there's more liquidity to us, and it takes about some time to develop a capital market. It's not easy, especially to offer short-term and long-term sukuks on a regular basis, unlike for uh, conventional setup. However, I think in the next 3 to 5 years, we should be in a position that a parallel capital market will be there for Islamic banks as well, because there are some insights which I cannot explicitly share here, but hopefully, what we are seeing in the next couple of years, you will see a very robust capital market for Islamic banks. There's a lot of work. There is a lot of work is being done on IBOR as well, where we can have our own uh, interbank offer rate for Islamic banks. So things are moving at a very fast pace. However, due to COVID situation, we have taken one step back. But I think once we are dealt with the COVID, I think you will be able to see a very fast pace development in the capital market. So this is one thing. The second thing is that you said about people to realize that Islamic banking has a potential which is there. I don't think any large business house now does not understand that the Islamic banks have been able to become a big market and big force. Especially, you see, when someone is putting his money into setting up an Islamic organization, what they're looking for is a return on equity. Islamic banks have proven the fact that there is a huge market and there is an excellent return on equity. You can see the results of Albaraka, Mizan Bank, and all other large institutions who have been in Islamic banking sector, full-fledged banks especially. They are performing very well. So return on equity is there. Once the motivation is there, the capital market has to follow because there's more demand every day. Even the government of Pakistan is also working on to give access to general public for to access the capital market. So if they want to have such inclusion of the people to enter into the fixed income securities, then we have already seen that the people are interested in Islamic products. So if that is there, the capital market is going to be a backbone for Islamic banks, and it's going to be there soon. The challenge is still there for large banks, especially full-fledged banks. They have an excess liquidity. and they are working hard to come up with new products. You have recently seen that Faisal Bank have come up with a credit card, Islamic credit card product. This is all because of the fact that they wanted to go into the they wanted to go into the new markets, retail market, to uh, commit to their financial inclusions, as well as to commit their excess liquidity to the real sector, the retail sector. So when there is an excess liquidity, uh, I believe that the new innovative products are also coming in, and with reference to level playing field, I believe that it's there. I don't think so. It's not there. Uh, if if it wouldn't have been there, Islamic banks wouldn't have been chance to grow at such a pace. Alhamdulillah, Islamic banks are now 20%, almost 20% of the market share in less than 2 decades. So I believe that this is not going to be a problem in longer run.
All right. It's very positive to note that there are products developed in capital markets as well as in retail sector. The Islamic credit card is there. Running Musharaka has been introduced in the past few years, and all these products are helping Islamic banking to grow. Shahid sir, my next question to you is that if we talk about banking, Islamic banks uh, were coming late and were starting in early 2000s, and they were competing against a very big conventional banking industry. So it's understandable that their market share would grow from 0% to then 10%, then 20%, and now we are envisioning 25% market share in the next few years. But when it comes to digital banking, it's a new sector altogether. And we are seeing that SECP as well as the State Bank of Pakistan is also very keen to basically promote the concept of full-fledged digital banks. So, as a technology expert, where do you see the potential, and how much potential is there for a full-fledged Islamic digital bank? And starting from afresh, both the mainstream conventional banks as well as Islamic banks in the digital banking sector, do you think that Islamic banks would have a edge and would have a much better chance to compete with the conventional banks in a completely new industry altogether? You have talked about the technology, the technological infrastructure is there, but what could be some of the impediments on the demand side that Islamic banks would have to overcome in order to compete with conventional banks in the
Salman,
demand side, digital Islamic banks in near future?
okay. Um, Salman, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, I just got your question. Actually, the digital bank, the license, the State Bank has almost finalized the draft for the digital bank. So the setting up of a full-fledged digital bank is something that would happen in Pakistan in near future. And as far as I have already talked about the technology infrastructure, which is not very different, whether it's Islamic bank or it's conventional bank. But yes, the functionality side and especially the lending side of Islamic bank is entirely different, and the functional part of the solution will be different in any case. But the underlying technologies will be the same. It's how you just use it according to your business case and business use. As far as the potential of Islamic digital bank is concerned, I personally feel that any banking product with Islamic fundamentals would really attract the audience. The reason behind that, if we just segregate, there are in a broader level, if we just segregate our people's mindset, one, those with the religious mindset, definitely they would opt for the Islamic banking product. But even those with the moderate, thinking in a religious manner, they would also opt for the Islamic product, because if it is really convenient. Because if we are getting the similar products in Islamic mode, then there is no any harm to definitely get that particular product, even for those people with the moderate thinking in terms of religion. So in any case, the Islamic the use case of the Islamic digital bank is there. And if we just look at the progress of the Islamic banking business, as you rightly said, that it is actually getting the momentum day by day, and there is still room for having more and more Islamic business in Pakistan. And another thing that I just actually highlighted last time, that when we talk about the digital bank, then it means that we are now talking about capturing those market which are still unbanked, right? Because if we just look at the banking business in Pakistan, there are, in terms of population, if you just set aside those digital wallets being used only for the local remittance, then there is hardly 20 percentage of the population is still in the banking channel. So there are, on a very roughly, frankly speaking, there are 80 percentage, even in the urban areas. I mean, just leave aside the far-flung areas. Even in Karachi, you can find so many people, and they don't have actually the bank account the way, or they don't have access to the financing facility. So, and this digital bank, whoever player who will just enter into the market, their market segment would be the unbanked customers, the fee-based income, and the small-sized lending product. I mean, definitely a big businessman requiring 100 million rupees facility, they are not going to use the digital channel. They just are going to call the president directly, right? So when we talk about the digital bank, it means that we are primarily talking about the retail customers. They have small deposits, but uh, humongous in terms of volume, in terms of numbers. And on the other side, we are talking about the small loans. So if I just ask you a very simple question, that you need actually a loan of, let's say, 500,000 rupees to run your store, or to run your very small, maybe manufacturing facility, and you have the two options: either go for conventional loan or for Islamic loan, and you are not too religious, but still you would tend to go for the Islamic, because whatever it is, but it is Islamic at least. So there is actually a sentiment associated to it. So definitely, the if the Islamic digital bank is launched, this would have its own unique proposition, and I am very quite hopeful that once this digital bank activity will start, probably in next 3 to 6 months, by the way, once this regulation is issued officially, then there would be actually the Islamic banking player in the market. But one thing that I think the Raheel also highlighted, there is actually a one inherent issue with the Islamic bank when we talk about the small loans, because you know that in the asset side, issuing a loan in conventional banking is very easy, because you don't need to go for a Sharia compliance for each and every case. But I think, as far as I understand, that issuing those loans in Islamic, there is actually I would say, a separate case for every financing. This needs to be structured in a particular document, and then it needs to be vetted by the Sharia. So the process of dispersing the finance in Islamic bank is a little bit, I would say, you can say it complicated, or you can say it a little bit, more work is required in every loan as compared to the conventional. And another thing is very rightly pointed out, the borrowing side for the excess liquidity, and the placement of the excess liquidity in the Islamic bank. This is a little bit tricky, and this is actually where the conventional banks actually have some edge for running the business.
Yes, thanks for the insights on digital banking, and you very rightly highlighted that market is open 80% of the people are still unbanked. So there is opportunity for both Islamic banks as well as Islamic banking branches of conventional banks to basically enter into this arena and especially focus on retail banking. Now, coming to the last part of this session, I would like to have you talk about some career advice for some of the participants. They have asked questions. So coming to Raheel Saab first, and then I will come to Shahid Saab. What are the career opportunities in Islamic banking? And let's say if a person has 6 months or 1 year to spare or 2 years to spare, then what are the diploma programs or certifications which are not only recognized in Pakistan but are recognized globally as well? You have also done a lot of certifications. You are also a trainer. So, what are the certifications that students can focus on? And are there any full fledged master degree programs in Islamic banking and finance which people can see? And what are the career opportunities in the Islamic banking industry? So, I would like you to shed some light on this.
Thank you, Salman. Salman, the career opportunity has been immense. See, banking sector in Pakistan is, especially Islamic banks, have been growing like at a very fast pace. Every year we open up 200 plus branches all over Pakistan. 200 is a very modest number. There's more, approximately 300 to 400 branches are being opened by the industry, Islamic banking sector only across Pakistan. So, career opportunity with Islamic banks is high. It's huge. Plus, uh, uh, Islamic banks are also helping the industry to ensure that the appropriate capacity building and the training is being done. There are various programs across Pakistan which is being offering in the Islamic banking. There are multiple PGD programs because Islamic banking is not a straightforward program where you will learn in one semester or one module. It requires certain understanding regarding both side, both liability side as well as asset side. And there are various PGD programs available at different universities as well as different institutes which are offering them. There are a few, but one of the most important programs, which I believe that if someone is really serious about Islamic banking, then they should pursue, like someone mentioned here in the comments, CISA, as well as CFA or FRM. Islamic banking also have two important programs. One for the people who are already Sharia experts and they require some authentication on it. That program is known as CSAA, Certified Sharia Advisor and Auditor from AOP. But a better program for every student who is looking to pursue a career in Islamic banking should look at is SEPA, Certified Islamic Professional Accountant. It's a very comprehensive program. People who are in finance majors or accounting majors, they definitely should look into it. And it is also being offered by AOP, one of the program which is being recognized all around the world. So AOP is offering such products, and I believe that if if the students wanted to uh, come to Islamic banking at this point in time, they should have a bright career because Islamic banking is one of the key growing industry like IT. And the more uh, there was a point mentioned by Sumar uh, in the beginning of the conversation regarding the subprime mortgage issue. And that is a fact that in 2008, when the subprime mortgage issue came in, and there was a huge financial losses to the banks, there are a lot of banks who were merged into certain other entities. That was a point when Islamic banking was not able to. Islamic banking was not in, infected with this financial disaster because of the fact that Islamic banks are uh, asset backed banking and they do not speculate, they do not go into derivatives. So a more stable uh, uh, way of doing financial management is Islamic banks, and Islamic banks have been because of that one of those factors. One particularly, there's one factor: the whole European side and the banks who were initially were not interested in Islamic banking have come up with Islamic banking windows, and they are doing a lot of research on Islamic banking because they believe that Islamic banking is far more uh, stable compared to the speculative form of businesses which been run for quite a while. So I think career is right for all those who wanted to come to an institution, but they have to have a right set of mind. You see, there is no alternative to uh, experience. People have to work hard and participate into their careers. They need to, concentrate on it. And definitely, every career is very lucrative eventually. But you need to, Islamic banking is also the same, but it requires a little more effort than the normal ones. That's about it. But I think people should definitely pursue Islamic banking now. If they have not even they have not enough information, they can always come back to you guys, and you can communicate to us. We are willing to guide them, and inshallah, from there we can take it from there.
All right. Very interesting to know that 200 branches are opened every year in
More than
Pakistan.
200.
Yeah, more than
More than
200 in
200.
the Islamic banking segment in Pakistan. And let's say if we have just 15 new job opportunities in a typical branch, so we are talking about 3,000 to 4,000 jobs only in the front desk offices of Islamic banks. And there are lots of other segments. There are opportunities in academia. And Raheel sir has also mentioned few of the certifications that can be looked at: CISA, CIFA, and if already one has experience in Islamic banking, then CSAA is also a very good certification to follow. And then there are PGD programs, and if one has more time, then 2-year master's programs are also being offered at different institutions. Coming to Shahid Saab, my last question of this session to you would be about career opportunities in Islamic banking, especially for professionals who are not basically finance experts or Islamic finance experts, but still banking or any other institution would require people from technology, people from HR, people from marketing background. So what are the different career opportunities that you see for computer science engineers, software engineers, and people who are coming from the technical side in Islamic banking industry and also in Islamic finance industry?
Okay, actually, frankly speaking, as I repeatedly expressed one thing, that the computer itself does not understand the conventional and Islamic. So it has to compute in any case. So from technology infrastructure side, if I'm just talking about as a hardcore technologist, frankly speaking, there is no any difference between this Islamic and conventional, right? I mean, you need the network communication, you need the server machine. There is no any actually Islamic server machine or the conventional server machine. The server machine is server machine. But one thing that I would advise the newcomers, that if they are hardcore technologists, then the lucrative industry for the technology resource is telco and the banking industry, of course. And I mean, these are actually the top two industry, at least in Pakistan, is spending a considerable amount for the technology side. I mean, this is apart from conventional Islamic. But when we talk about the technology people these days, it is not only the technology, hardcore technology involved, but even the person ultimately securing a senior position like CIO. I mean, I cannot just say that I'm a technologist and I don't understand the banking business. I mean, we can't do that at this position. I mean, we need to have a business acumen. We need to understand the banking operation. We need to understand what the CEO is thinking, because the CEO is not thinking about implementing a new version of Java, but the CEO is actually thinking about moving forward in the business. And the technology person with the business acumen can really help the company transform 360-degree. And this is actually where the person has a lethal, I would say, a combination in terms of the value delivery. One thing that I would really like to suggest to our newcomers that those are the old days when the head of IT used to just talk about the technology, but these days actually the technology need to understand the relevant industry in its true sense with the business acumen. Otherwise, you would just become a sidelined technology person. Number one. Number two, adding to Rahil's comment that if you are an Islamic banker, if you understand the Islamic banking, then even the conventional banking sector is very easy for you. But a conventional banker without the Islamic banking experience, it's very hard for them to understand Islamic. So once you know the Islamic banking, it means that you are very much comfortable with the Islamic and then the conventional, because conventional, frankly speaking, is very easier as compared to the Islamic. So you know that as just you asked about the having a career in Islamic banking, so it is something that you have a greater control of the overall financial industry if you understand the Islamic banking. This is actually the operational part I'm talking about. As far as the technology is concerned, I mean, whether you talk about the Islamic or conventional, but we should actually more talk about the financial institutions. So, exploring the career as a technologist in a financial institution is a good idea just because that there are two major sectors spending seriously in the technology side. One is banking, and another is banking or any financial institute, and another is telco. So, this is from my side.
Yeah, very important insights and career advices from Shahid Sumar Sahab, and he has highlighted that even for people who are coming from technology background, who are coming from different fields, they still have to have business acumen, and they still have to understand at least the basics of Islamic banking and finance if they are venturing into a career in this field, and this will definitely help them understand their role better and also perform their role in an effective way, especially if they get to a position where they are making policies and taking the strategic decisions. So it is important for them to have a business acumen as well as Islamic finance knowledge. With that, I would thank my two experts, esteemed guests, Mr. Raheel Bhagar Saab and Shahid Sumar Saab, who have taken time out from their work, and we are very grateful to you. There are lots of comments from the audience who are also thanking you for your insights, for your knowledge sharing. It's a pleasure listening to you, and I would, in the end, thank you for your presence in this webinar. With this thank you note, I would now conclude this webinar, and thanks to the audience as well for joining in. With that, uh, I conclude this session.
Thank you,
Thank
sir.
you. Thank you, everyone. Cheers. Assalamu alaikum.